What is up? What is down? Andre from Dre on the Bike Show, directly reaching everyone on the bike, part of the ICU Network and ICU Cycling. How you doing? This is a continuation. I actually think this might be the last video of my project, getting the views and feelings about the potential closure of Beach Drive in Rockaway Park, D.C. To commuter traffic, and getting the views and feelings of park patrons concerning the possible compromises, adaptations that may materialize from the considerations that National Park Service is making now. What you see on the video are the expressed creativity, the expressed consideration of park patrons towards other members of our community. Right? People they will never meet, people who don't live in their neighborhoods, people who, it was great. I loved seeing it. I absolutely loved seeing that and hearing that. Made me feel really good inside. What you see on the video are a couple of different things all surrounding the idea of rush hour and just keeping commuter traffic to rush hour. Is either have rush hour available daily or a couple of days a week, or a mixed lane use where the rush hour traffic is mainly in one direction and use the other lane for social healthful activities like cycling and walking and running and rollerblading and baby pushing. There's another one. It's a little different. It's HOV, to use this Beach Drive as an HOV lane. Very interesting. Another idea to move a lot of people all at once was to maybe use this as a bus line. I don't know about that one because there's a size limit of vehicles in the park, but it was a view. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing it. And then one more is to use different roads. There are different roads that end up giving you a parallel direction in the park. If Beach Drive stays closed, that you could probably use. Another very interesting suggestion. So we'll see what happens in a couple of months. But thank you to everyone who stopped and shared. It was beautiful. I thank you. And your neighbors and community members also thank you. Well, I'm doing it for them. Anyway, check it out. I hope you get something from it. This is Andre from Dre on the Bike Show, directly reaching everyone on the bike. ICU Network, ICU Cycling. I'm out.
Rush hours and overnight, like maybe from 7 to close it. I mean, have it open to car traffic from 7 to 9, perhaps in the morning, and maybe 4 to 7 or 5 to 7 in the evening, and then say from 9 p.m. to the next 7 a.m. So
right.
All night long it would be open to cars, and during rush hour, and that doesn't look like it would be that much of a hassle.
I vote for keeping it open, but I also respect and understand doing otherwise, because we all have different interests and
different views and
views
different
and
needs.
obligations and needs. So,
And needs, yes, a big society we can share. Right?
All the traffic going one way,
Yeah.
it has been a life-saving for me.
Okay.
And then coming back, I make sure I come back before 9 o'clock so I can use all the street
Yeah.
because it's gonna be traffic.
Yeah.
I like it. Really, I love it.
I think that would be a fine compromise, actually. I know that a lot of people do use it, and there is one benefit to rush hour traffic, and that is that when the road is full of leaves and wet debris and twigs, the cars rushing past have a tendency to have the effect of cleaning it off, almost like a blower.
Okay.
And so a leaf blower, if you will. So that wouldn't be such a bad idea. A couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the afternoon. That would probably make good sense. And then on weekends, of course, I'll close all the time.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we need protected space, and if we can share that road, like let's say halfway, for example, for rush hour, that sounds great because the cars could use it when people need to get to work in an efficient way, but we can also get in our workout before, let's say, you're about to start your work remotely.
Right, I totally dig that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of, if you were to compromise on it, just having it open to cars during rush hour. I mean, there'd be some hassle in closing it down and all of that, but people would get used to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Users, pedestrian bikers, these are working people.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get their walking right in during the same time the commuters
Before,
are trying to do
right,
that.
before.
And also after,
And
depending
after
on
also.
their workout.
Yeah.
So that actually would fail if we try to do that, and it just be a waste of resources of opening and closing. So I think that's the worst possible option to have.
Okay.
I like to use it early in the morning to ride,
Okay.
and then I go to work.
Yeah.
So that would probably not help me, and I just use it on the weekend anyway. But
Yeah.
I see why people would want to do that. It's still better than nothing. So.
Yeah.
But that will be an alternative for people who want to bike and, use it for other things, yes.
That seems, I commute, so I live in Adams, Morgan.
Okay.
And I work in Virginia. So I drive to and from work. And yeah, you're only driving it during those many hours. I mean,
Yeah. The rest of the day is just like, eh.
Yeah. I mean, selfishly, it'd be nice to just keep it closed all the time, but
No,
I think that'd
take
be a
that.
good compromise.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the time that I come here, even though it's a weekend right now, I use Beach Drive probably during the weekdays, just in my experience. That's when I'm not working. But that makes total sense too.
Yeah.
Have as much as it can, as much of the day as it can be open, the better. So
keep it closed as it is right now. Then I would be okay with opening it up just Tuesday to Thursday rush hour.
Okay.
And the maximum that I think that cars should be here would be Monday through Friday, just rush hour only.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I just totally disagree because I'm a bike commuter. I've been a bike commuter in D.C. since 1993, and I think we need more spaces for bikes. I'll also say that since the pandemic and since it has been closed during the week, I see people using it at all hours of the day. People are out walking and biking and being together as a community, and so I think it's actually a really valuable resource as a closed space. Yeah.
Just using it for rush hour and then closing it for the rest of the time.
Yeah, you know what? I think people are going to be inclined to go back to the office all the time. And if you have the option of teleworking, you should telework as much as you possibly can. It's also better for the environment. It's better for your mental health. Use public transit. It's safe to use Metro.
Yeah.
And so if you're so concerned about that, we have an outstanding public transit system and a bus network and Metro network. And if more people did that, I think we'd all be better off anyways.
Yeah, and it's still kind of nerve-wracking to take the Metro, I know.
Right, that's it. No one's mentioned that.
Yeah.
No one's mentioned.
I don't really want to take the Metro. When I work for, so I don't really want to.
Yeah, so you don't really want to
go in there. That could be a little bit confusing. I work. You hear a lot about bikers getting hit. There's been a lot of that, like on 15th Street, where even though there's a shoulder. Bikers are getting hit. I think it's great to keep it closed and have the ability for people who bike commute downtown would be great.
It used to be during the weeks and then closing the weekends, but we walk down here in the mornings now, so we would prefer it closed in the morning as well.
All right, totally dig that.
Yeah.
Rush hour in the morning and the evening is when most of the people are walking and biking here. So that would be
kind of tough to share that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, an alternative to me has always been, why not have it one way in the morning, one way in the afternoon or something, make it open it up for bikes, but barring that, certainly closing it to traffic, I think it's a good idea.
It's 4 lanes going one way, but that far left lane would just be for bicycles, going both ways because there's enough space.
Yeah.
Because what I've heard is using the bikes on the trail, and then you have the walkers and the runners and the scooters and the baby people pushers, and it just gets crowded.
Congested.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's a yes?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a happy medium. Yeah.
You hear that, NPS? All right. Thanks, Molly.
I agree with that. That maybe during rush hour that could be some sort of compromise, but I think the city has to step up and make sure that traffic flows on 16th Street for rush hour. It has to be primarily for pedestrians, bicyclists, runners, non-motorized vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what this is for.
NPS really needs to focus on the data that they get from DDOT and the data that they get from different observations about use here in the park in making their assessment.
Well, I think it's good to keep it closed on the weekends because it's been great for biking. And also I'm a runner. I run here on the weekends. I like the idea that other people have suggested about opening up to rush hour traffic during the week and closing it in the middle of the day. And one of the main reasons I think that would be a good plan is because if it's open at least for rush hour, that means that it will get plowed when it snows. because this past year it was closed all the time, and so it never got plowed at all in the snow that we had.
You know what? Yeah, I've experienced that too, where it might be warm enough to go out, but because of the tree cover, the snow, it's patchy and it's dangerous and icy, yeah?
Right, and it wasn't treated at all. No salt, no plowing, no anything. So it just was impassable until it melted, which can take a while.
So I have mixed feelings about that.
Good.
I think that rush hour is probably time that we need safe cycling routes the most.
Okay.
Because riding your bike in rush hour is kind of it's horrible.
It gets
it's horrifying.
Challenging, yeah.
Yeah, challenging. That's a good word.
Challenging is a good word.
So yeah, I do have mixed emotions about that.
Yeah. The southbound lane for cars, northbound lane for everybody else. Definitely slow the cars down, right? 15 miles an hour would be fine. It's 22 feet per second, good time. And have little dividers or whatever. What do you think about that?
I think that's good. I think we'd have to have a lot of signs that make it clear that now you're splitting a lane and cyclists need to, stay on the sides. But I think that'd be great. I love to just be out here in the morning. It's the perfect time. It's hot in the summer, so you got to get out early in the morning. So
I totally dig that.
Well, I suppose that'd be better than opening it all the time, but I think it should just stay closed all the time. I think the solution to congestion is transit. It's flexible work schedules. It's finding alternatives to reduce the volume taken up by parked cars.
To cycle or do non-vehicular things, and I also come here with my small children. I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old who are learning to ride bikes as well. And I like the fact that there aren't any cars here. So my preference would be to close it to traffic all the time. I mean, a mixed thing, not my ideal, but I could potentially see that working.
So a mix, okay.
This may not be possible, some combination where you make it one way and have a cycling lane as well.
So maybe have the northbound lane for cyclists and whoever else.
Walkers, runners.
Right, and the southbound lane for cars. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sort of soothes both itches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I see you like itches. Soothing your itches. That's 7 to 9:30 or whatever it is, and then close restaurant. What do you think?
I mean, that might be a good compromise, but ultimately we also have to think towards the future and climate change and reducing the amount of cars that need to be on the road in general. So, I mean, if DC and we want to preserve all the beautiful land that's around here, like we've got to reduce our car traffic and everyone's got to do their part.
My one concern about splitting it like that is I do come here with my smaller children, and that I worry about safety for not just adult bikers like us, but for kids who want to use it as well.
When we look at how commutes ultimately shift when things really open up in entirety, taking good traffic studies to see if it's actually necessary to do that. And then also with that, not just looking at overall traffic, but look at our people who actually live in the neighborhood and their traffic, and make sure that we get their perspective as well.
Well, I still see people now that it's been closed who are not familiar with the fact that it is closed that drive really fast on this section here north of Military. That would just worry me that unless they were really going to put in new barriers so that cars know for sure.
I think we should do a pilot study.
Oh, just a pilot study, okay.
You know what?
No.
The Beach Drive is not for commuting. So it should be open to the people who are here to enjoy it. And it's not that should be a secondary and incidental benefit of Beach Drive is an easier commute.
I mean, to me, it brings up like an interesting question about who are roads for. And I feel like roads are partly for people and pedestrians and cyclists and cars too. So yes, that seems, I mean, in an ideal world, no, but if that's like an important thing that people value, then
I dig it.
I think it's important people can get home to their families on time and spend time with their families. So mixed use seems great.
I think that could be okay as a compromise. Of course, like selfishly, I would always want to keep it because I come and run through here in the mornings.
Yeah, during rush hour.
During rush hour, because I've actually, even when they haven't had it closed, I'm the person running on the side of the road.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, selfishly, I want Lower Beach Drive closed because, like, obviously there are alternative alternative routes around the park. That said, you know, I'm fair. I'd be willing to compromise.
All right, I dig that.
Yeah, it just feels like cars get so much of the city kind of to themselves. It'd be nice to have a space where pedestrians and bikers kind of have that protected,
safe space.
Okay,
safe. Like there's other places where cars can go to get to work, but there's fewer places where runners and bikers can really have that free space to do their thing.
Okay, I can dig that.
Back and forth as well, and taking my kids to school. And I have to tell you that I have found alternative routes. So at this point, I'm really cool with it just not being open. I mean, if you were to have it, we figure out how to do Rock Creek Park in terms of shutting it. For part of it, just go one way, the other way. So like, if we wanted to do that, I just think that's okay, but I think it would be okay for it not to be for cars.
The other part is that the rush hour is really slow. It's back to back. It's stop and go. But if that side was just open to bikes, you would just keep going, right? Bikes, commuters, people walking, baby pushers, skaters, whoever. What do you think about that?
I think it's a fair compromise.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a fair compromise. You still have to follow some rules, right? Runners on the right, bikes go around them, that sort of thing, and make sure you're sharing the lane, but it's still better than nothing.
No, because rush hour is also the time where folks like me enjoy riding in the park. After work every day, I hop on my bike and I do 10 or 15 miles in the park, which would be the height of evening rush hour. And I see my friends down here, everybody's smiling, everybody's laughing, it's great. So, you know, they can ride on Connecticut Avenue where they have 6 lanes, you know, and a nice reversible lane or whatever, and that's fine.
Well, I understand commuters need to get to work. I'm a commuter also. But there are other road options. I mean, Ridge Drive here goes north and south, and honestly, I mean that rush hour time is the same time that a lot of teleworkers are getting out and running. So you know, so it gets so it'll get crowded with the runners and with the and the bikers and everyone else who uses this if they're sharing the road with the car.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a binary thing. Right? It's about how can we meet multiple needs, and I think having some kind of sharing of resources is, you know, definitely better than, you know, not allowing this a dedicated biking zone at all, or only on weekends. So.
Okay. What do you think about that?
It seems like a reasonable balance. I understand people needing to get to work. People don't want to go a long way out of the way to get to work. That compromises their time with their families.
Exactly.
But making a compromise like that to keep it good for both parties would be great.
Totally agree with that. Hey, Jamie, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Guys,
thanks for being out here.
Let me talk to your dad. I appreciate it. Bye. How you feel about it and why?
So I am against it being closed all the time. I think that it would be good a Friday through Monday, because on Fridays and Mondays, a lot of people that's when they work from home, and then they come out to go to work on Tuesday through Thursday.
I guess that's an option.
Option.
That's a possible option.
That's who.
If we need to have a compromise.
Some sort of sharing, I guess.
Sharing is okay.
It would certainly be preferable to opening it up all the time to automobile traffic. I think ideally, I mean, look at these people coming down right now.
I know.
Ideally is just keeping it closed forever, but honestly, I don't have to commute on this road, so I don't have skin in that game. But my general philosophy is to close off as much as possible the automobile traffic so that people can enjoy it and safely.
Safely and easily.
So if mixed use is the best we can get, then that's the best we can get.
Okay.
I'm an avid biker. I've biked this for years and years and years, usually on the weekends, but now it's fantastic to be able to bike it on the weekdays when there's no traffic. At the same time, we need the others' inputs and to hear folks, who maybe have used this route for many years driving, and they're going to be moved to different routes, so we need to think about that. But just so fantastic, we're getting good data and trying to make some good decisions for everybody.
What if you made it, an HOV lane?
Okay.
All the way down. 3 people, 4 people to a car?
Oh, to a car, just in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds interesting. No one has suggested that.
I see all those cars, mostly the single drivers, and I can't help but wonder, how many people is this road really serving as a commuter road? How well is this actually serving as a commuter road? My impression is not that well, because that's clearly not its original function.
like you said, use it, close on the weekends like it was. What about opening it during the week, but only rush hour for rush hour traffic? Mornings and afternoons, evenings, no?
No, it ought to be all day. I mean, it already was mixed use before the pandemic because bikers, had free reign on the road and used it. So the cars and the bikes shared the road already.
Yeah.
And no, I don't like the idea of only rush hour.
In the morning, the right lane cycling and the left lane, driving with pylons every once in a while. There are machines that just drop them down.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be. I've seen it on bridges. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
But I would just love that.
Yeah, like having one lane for cars, or for the rush hour, because rush hour in the morning is just southbound, mainly the southbound.
Yeah.
And then have that northbound lane, with bikes, people walking, whatever.
Whichever way.
Right?
Whichever
And
way.
have a little.
There's a compromise in there if it's really, really needed for rush hour. I'm not convinced, in part because I don't know what are people going to go back to the office? Are people going to go back downtown? And this is this may or may not even be necessary.
So to use this lane,
I don't think that's safe.
for cycles? So
No,
tell me
I think
what you
that's
think.
not safe. I would not like that because people during rush hour are anxious. They want to get to work or get home from work.
Yeah.
And if they're behind another car that's going slowly and they want to go into the other lane where the bikes are, that's not safe. I would not vote for that at all.
Open for rush hour, but close the rest of the time. What do you think?
I mean, I prefer it would be closed all the time, but if that's a compromise that can get more support, I can live with that.
Okay. Rush hour. That may be to open it during rush hour and then close it all the other times. That'd be 2.5. So 5 hours out of the time. Out of the whole
24,
day.
right?
Right, 5 hours out of 24.
That might be a reasonable solution
Okay.
if it kept to that.
Like for a couple hours in the morning, couple hours in the evening, and then close the rest of the time, and also on the weekends. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's a good idea in general. I would probably encourage us first to let it stay closed and then see if there is an adverse effect on commutes and on other routes, because that's the concern.
Okay.
So let's see what the effect is before we rush to bring it back to normal on this road as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Edith.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.